Hi Rohit,
Hi Chandra sir, how are you?
I'm
Hi,
fine.
Richa.
Hi Richa. I see a very nice guitar out there with a extra bridge there somewhere. Hmm.
Hey, sir.
Hey, Happy.
Hi
Ah,
Aparnaa, how are you?
Good.
so
How
good
are
to
you?
see you.
Where are you,
Yes.
Aparnaa?
This is our media room, but it has been converted into office during the pandemic. So
Oh, I
you can
see.
see
Okay, so which is why that lovely looking projector out there.
yes, it's become our
And,
gym, like our media room or office, like it's everything now.
and those are both speakers. It looks like an acoustic Mass
I don't know
5 or
if
something.
they are Polk audio.
Okay, that's nice.
Hi, Rohit sir. Chal. How are you?
I'm not sir anymore. Rohit is
आप
fine.
ही लोगों ने, you people were the one.
नहीं 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 रोहित सर तो बोलना ही पड़ेगा.
Ah.
Alright. So how's everyone doing?
Thanks. Yeah, good to see you all. Changed. Yeah, of course, been 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Great.
I think there's to join.
यार रोहित तुम बदले नहीं हो बिल्कुल. क्या हुआ?
No,
हाँ ये
trying to maintain myself.
हाँ
Until-
focused on physical fitness and everything.
Yeah, have
Good,
to
yeah.
little bit
नहीं करना चाहिए.
Yeah.
It's very important.
because COVID has taken little toll as well because sitting at home was tough.
Hmm.
Yeah, so trying to make sure it doesn't affect me indirectly now. At
True.
least little bit
True.
it is open up here, so it's much better.
How are things there now? Which city are you in?
I am in Queen. I would say New York only, but I'm in Queens, Flushing side.
All right.
Yeah, and if you know the US Open Metzvillet and all, those are there.
Okay.
US Open happens here nearby. So
And
that's
Aparna, where are you?
I am in Atlanta, so still on the eastern side.
All right. Been there also.
Yeah, things
So
are
now
okay.
you're
I
in
mean,
the. You can't call it east. Yeah, you're in the south. Yeah,
well,
you should be
Eastern
talking with a
time.
Georgian accent.
Yeah,
But
you all.
y'all and all that.
yeah.
Opened up, no masks anymore, but it is still anxious. I mean, it's hard because you're so used to like not being in crowd, and now everything is open, so it is a bit anxious.
All right, and you're all behaving safely, like despite everybody else. I mean, you're wearing masks and stuff.
Mostly when we go out, yep.
Yeah, even in crowd also, because not sure who is vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. So it's
That is
tough
true,
to tell.
and there is a
So
stream
it's
of
better.
thought there which says that maybe we should not get vaccinated and stuff like that. Yeah, risky behavior every day.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Jisha.
You need to unmute, Jisha. I think you're speaking.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Hi. Yes,
Yep.
I can.
Hi.
Lovely
Yes,
to
hi,
see
good
you.
evening.
Good God, I'm seeing you after such a long time.
After maybe 10 years, yes.
Actually, yes, that is true. I mean, you are 11, 17, so you
11,
joined
13, yeah.
11, 13. So you joined exactly 10 years
10
before the
years
current
ago. Yes.
batch.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Anuradha looking lovely as
Hello.
usual.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, I would have assumed that with a doctorate down your belt, you should be looking very professorish and something like me, without the beard, of course. But and it was a very fast PhD. I thought when I saw that it was like in 3 years you managed it. Huh?
No, I completed in about 5 years.
5 years, is it?
Yeah, it took me 5 years. Started in January 14 and completed in 19.
Hey, Vinay. And Anuradha,
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, your guide is still shit scared of you?
I don't know.
I mean, we were all scared of you. So, all right.
Hi, sir.
My professor was a professor from Egypt, Dr. Siam. But yeah, it was good. I got the chance to work with really good professor and meet a lot of people in the journey. I remember meeting Dr. Tufti. Everybody might be aware of. I attended one of his workshop, and then one of my mentor is Dr. Bland Godfrey, who is pretty well known for quality control area. Yeah, he was a CEO for Juran Institute for a few years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he was he is still my mentor, and I work closely with him in one of a UN project where we are trying to understand the child and mother mortality rate in different countries. So we are studying 183 countries and trying to replicate if few countries have adopted some practices. So we are trying to replicate that to different countries. So that's like a side gig I'm doing.
Good show.
Lovely.
Vinay, are you wearing your cycling stuff? I mean, I wanted to see your bicycle shorts here. I mean,
We didn't want to scare people away now, right?
well, I mean, you're a California guy, and I mean, how can you scare people away?
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah.
It's very nice to see West Coast, East Coast, okay, Georgia, somewhere out there. I mean, Anuradha, Jisha, all of you are like New York centric practically.
Yes, I'm recently moved to Massachusetts a month back for a new job.
Interesting. Right. So we are now 4 minutes into the program. We have around 90 minutes to talk about things. And it's 7:30 and the students will probably, their moms would be calling them for dinner at some point of time, I'm sure. But please remember that they are still at home. And we have around 6-ish questions, if you can think about it. And primarily, we'll first go through a round of introduction. Let's focus on how from undergraduate to postgraduate to careers, okay, how switching has happened as such. I mean, the fact that an undergraduate doesn't really matter. And quite a few of you guys have moved between engineering to finance and finance to engineering. And Anuradha has like, now she's making clothes and all. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, medical textiles is a very, very fascinating place.
Yeah.
Subsequent to doing that, we'll sort of focus on, expectation versus reality. Please remember that we are essentially having this discussion for our current batch, for them to have a sense, that actually doing an MBA will allow them to do some career changes, allow them to focus on things that hitherto they might not have been able to do. And the fact that none of this actually prevents them from charting a career, which all of you started off with something and sort of ended up with something. And it doesn't really matter. It's a fascinating journey, that sort of thing. And the last part, I want you to first focus on COVID is a very interesting time. It was a disruption that came, and all of you sort of adjusted to it. And all of you, what we management jargon we call, we pivoted. And in some cases, actually changed careers. In some cases, somehow survived. Okay, in some cases, got unemployed and then got employed again, etc. Okay, and therefore, what is the message that you would leave with the students in terms of what they should do here, and how should they sort of prepare themselves for the lovely world out there? Yeah, some sort of, okay, you need to disabuse yourself of some things and you need to accept a few things. And there are some things which only God has the answer and will probably have to wing it as it goes. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. I have 3 ladies and 2 gentlemen, so I'm going to start sandwiching now. All right. And since Anuradha comes before Aparna alphabetically, so we'll do Anuradha first. Okay, then we'll do Rohit, then we'll do Aparna, then we'll do Vinay, and then we'll do Jisha. Fair enough? All right.
Is it okay if I go last?
Sorry?
Is it okay if I go last?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm okay with that also. Jisha, you're fine with that, I suppose?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Anuradha,
Okay.
background.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I mean, academically, and then what did you do in IBA? And then subsequently sort of chart your career in terms of the twists and turns.
Okay. So anyway, so my career path has been very interesting in all sort of possible way. I have an undergrad in accounting. I have an honors in accounting. After which I did my MCom because I didn't know where to go from there. So I was just doing degrees because at that point I didn't have like a very clear career path. I guess it's just me. I never thought what I'm gonna do in future. So things just happened to me, I would say. So well, undergrad was in accounting. Then I did MCom in finance. But well, the idea was to get into a job, and that was hard with just an undergrad. So the next step was IBA, where I got like to explore. That was the first time actually I moved out of my house, and I just stayed by myself with all my friends. IBA has been a great family, great professors, great friends I made. Richa being one of them, and then it was a very interesting journey. That time also, I knew that, okay, maybe since I'm focused in accounting and finance, so maybe I will do something in finance and, maybe make a career there. So, well, after I finished my MBA in finance and marketing from IBA, I got a job in TCS. So I worked there for about 2 years or so. And then life event happened. I got married in 2012, and then my husband has been in US. He also has a PhD from in textile, but his textile area is completely different. He is in fiber and polymer sciences. So we got married. I moved here, but moving here was my only aim was to start a career here. Even though it's from scratch, I wanted to start, at least implementing whatever I've studied. So, everybody in US will agree how tough US visa has been for everybody. I'm sure, they have their own struggles. So, well, I came here on H4 visa, which was a dependent visa then. And then it didn't give me the work permit. So the other way I could think was to get into to start a course here. And after doing MBA, like having 2 masters, the next step was PhD. I didn't want to get into another master, and I didn't know what master I would do. So MBA was on like a general management where, okay, you focus on but moving forward, I just wanted to get into an area which is like specified. And I realized when I moved here, a lot of people would ask me, you don't have an engineering background, you don't have any technology background. So I thought, like, why not to explore that? Yeah, it will be a difficult. And then, so I got an admission in the College of Textile, which is #1 in US for textile at NC State. So I was very surprised why they picked me without zero textile background. But I took up the challenge. I actually prepared myself a lot before getting in school because I had a lot of time then. I was basically doing nothing then. So I did a lot of like fundamental of textile, like weaving, knitting, non-wovens, braiding. So all those areas I explored just to get an understanding. And then my research was in composites. So I use natural fiber composite to make panels and try to understand the market of composite in the natural way. So the more on the sustainability side. So yeah, that was a very interesting choice because hemp, I don't know if anybody knows, hemp was not legalized in US for some, like it was legalized in North Carolina where I was located in 2014. That's when I started my PhD. So that was something which I wanted to explore. I had a very interesting team, great professors I worked with. So it was really a path which I take pride of. And it was here I have understood that you can actually take any courses, whichever department you can, if you have interest. So I took courses in industrial engineering. I took courses in project management. I took courses Lean Six Sigma. So I explored whatever option I could get. Just that is very important. I realized, right? Never stop yourself from learning. And so I explored that, finished my PhD. In that, the journey was research, and I was I was expecting my first child then during my I was pregnant in my first semester. So that has been an interesting journey overall. Very, very proud of my research. And and then after I finished, there of course COVID started. Then it was like struggle to get into a job. So I started with a small company which was more local, near where I was located, and I was doing more on the R&D position where we were trying to make fabric for different kind of technical textile companies, starting with like abrasive companies. There were some medical orthopedics companies we were working with. So that was just like, I would say that was like a filler job for me, because I was trying to get into something which would make more meaning to me. And then Confluent happened. Confluent, I don't know if anybody is aware. It was earlier known as biomedical structures. They only do implants, all sort of implants that goes into your body. They have few branches in California. They started recently in Tennessee and Texas, and they have a big manufacturing facility in Costa Rica. So right now I'm working with a rapid prototyping team. So Confluent is basically a contractual manufacturing for medical textile. And I am a part of rapid prototyping, where we just design products.
So interestingly, you started with finance. You sort of in MBA did general things, but you also focused a bit on IT. And with that IT and finance, you moved into, I think, TCS. And somewhere you have always been a part of processes.
Yes.
And interestingly, now you are in textile processes, so to speak. Right? And so you're not doing anything with accounting except for the quality control, audit, and that part of things, where maybe that aspect of accounting is the only one that's left. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is we have Rohit and we have Vinay, who are like heavily into the finance thing. Really.
Yeah,
right?
I think I got off that train long back.
That's true.
Just personally, I did not enjoy finance as much. It was very monotonous for me. It didn't challenge me the way I wanted it to be.
And now you are in rapid prototyping. So you are
Yes.
like quickly coming up with various products and solutions, okay, for various customers.
Yes.
So it's very interesting to know that from what you started post MBA, okay, to where you ended up, a very checkered career, and in the meantime, children, marriage, COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a book there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it has been
All right.
very, very.
Okay. I'm moving on to Rohit. Go on.
Hi.
I mean,
Yeah. Hi, everyone. And I'm Rohit from Andhra Pradesh, I would say, my native. And I did my BCom over there. I've been never moved out of the town, I would say. Moved to Bangalore, IBA. I did my finance and marketing. And I was leading Cosmos Club as well. I think Vinay was also there, my senior as a Cosmos lead during that time. And then I got an offer from an Dubai firm which was into more of marketing, but I did not took that offer from IBA. And I just, as I rejected that offer, and next day I went for interview at EY in Bangalore. And I got into property tax, which is completely different of what I was doing there. Like it was more of US property tax. I never learned about sections, rules, whatever it is. I just learned on the flow, tried to understand the process. For 2 years, I spent over there. Then I figured out it was becoming a monotonous for me. So I started looking out for another wherever I could move. There was no clear path until I was in EY. So once I understood that I need to move on, so I took an offer from Deloitte because it was easy to move from Big Four to Big Four and into an accounting firm. So, but here what was happening was I got a profile where I was more interested into. It was more of financial service industry where we deal with hedge funds, private equity, and fund of funds related kind of work where we do all the taxes for them. And it's everything is on the job we learn. It's never like I learned in college that I will be doing US taxation and I'm doing US tax and I see like hundreds of forms on the job. It was completely different. And yeah, I usually take my life as it comes day by day. I have goals like on 3-4 years I keep it, but I try to see where I should move. But until and unless like I see there is a lot to do, different things, I don't try to jump on conclusion that I cannot do it. But yes, the US tax path I was becoming in 2010. I moved to Hyderabad. Then in 2015, I moved for 10 months to US. There I was in Philadelphia helping out clients to set up so that our process can be moved to India, like more work can be done in India itself. So trying to push those work there. From Philadelphia, I moved for next 5 months to New York. And New York, there also I worked for 5 months, and then I moved back to India for 2 months. And there I got I would say, counter offer from someone like another firm. As I went back, so I just tried to negotiate with Deloitte, like, see, I have this one. Should I choose or I should stick with you? Please let me know. If so, the negotiations skill also I had to learn on the job. I never knew that I have to negotiate. It never happened in my life. Like, and I never tried to negotiate with anyone. But on the job, I learned negotiation. So I had to do it, and they moved me to New York in 2016 Feb. I moved to New York, and since then I am here as a tax manager now and trying to do all the financial service industry, which is more of investment management. It's not like I know all the sections of US. It's all, every day there is new tax law comes up. Every day new things comes up. I have to learn it. Every day some new forms are introduced. The forms changes. I'm sure Vinay also does those kind of sometimes, but I'm not sure like what profile he is into more. So those things I never expected in my life that I'll be doing in IBA. So it's a journey within different experience and trying to do the US tax with my finance knowledge. It's not, I would not say it's finance knowledge. It's just an accounting, but with trying to understand different rules and sections, laws of IRS. And I did my enroll agent back in 2013. Yep.
So yeah, I heard something about you're now licensed to kill or something. You're like federal license or something you have. You're part of the CIA now or something, is it?
No,
Okay,
no,
all right. I'm
nothing
just
of
kidding.
that kind of.
Nothing. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, fairly straightforward and a straight line, I would say,
Yeah.
in terms of started with commerce, stayed with commerce, started with tax, and stayed with tax. Yes, I can
Yeah.
understand that some people might consider it a bit, my God, very straight line, anything interesting, etc. But reality is that tax keeps changing and clients
Mhm.
keep changing, and it's always a challenge to keep them happy. Um, Tell me something. As AI goes on, how will the whole impact of tax happen? I mean, how will it impact KPOs and stuff like that?
Uh, AI is far is at the end of the day, everything should be filed right with
Yeah.
IRS.
Hmm.
If AI is improving the tax filings, it doesn't mean that AI will work automatically. Even there,
Hmm.
we have to try to make sure we are doing few stuff to AI to work.
Yeah.
So automation is happening as well. I have seen in my firm like a lot of things have been automated nowadays, but still there is a scope to improve, and it would take time. It doesn't mean that our jobs would go kind of
No, it won't. I
different
mean,
kind
yeah.
different kind of opportunities would open. Like you have to learn automation, you have to learn different tools at the firm. It's all tools would not work without people. I would say, but yes, if you are doing 2 hours job, you will be doing in 15 minutes. That's the only change,
Yeah.
but the
So
filings are
it's
same.
a very interesting thing. Like just like Anuradha started off with finance and moved into, okay, I mean the challenge being that you're not technically, you don't have a technical background, but she actually picked up all the technology as she went, and so does everybody, right? Um, Moving on from Rohit to Aparna. Aparna, you have been pivoting left, right, and center. Practically, you're a star basketball player then. Okay, tell me about this.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for this opportunity. My name is Aparnaa Rajasekaran. I am originally from Chennai, and I have an undergraduate degree in computer science and engineering, and I did not even work one day as a IT or a coder ever in my life. So that's like the first biggest pivot. I came to IBA 0709 batch, fell in love with marketing. I was like, oh, I was born for this. That was the kind of like enlightenment I had in IBA. And my first job out of IBA was in a company called Asus Technology. They are into motherboards, laptops, phones, and I worked there for about a year and a half in sales because I heard a lot in IBA that it's great to start your career with sales, and I was like, let's do it. But I realized I did not like it. I took a lot of wisdom. I kind of knew how it worked, but I was not cut for it. So I moved on to a company called Big FM, 92.7 Big FM in Bombay. I worked there for 3 years, I guess, and had an excellent time meeting celebrities like Dhanush and your Abhishek Bachchans of the world. At a point, it became so boring that nobody cares like who's in your office. So I did marketing for them. I was doing various roles with them. And when I left them, I was heading Bombay marketing for their station. So, and then of course, like what Anuradha said, there are some similarities in the journey. My boyfriend then, and we're like trying to like get married, and he was already in US at that point. So I knew at some point I had to like stop my career in India and move to the US. I started preparing even before I like moved here. I knew kind of what universities I was looking for. I knew like what the path was going to be. So I was already preparing all for like your GMATs and TOEFLs, but then work was so hectic in Bombay, I had not had the opportunity to write those exams. So got married in 2012, moved here, took a break for a year, very intentionally. Just wanted to like chill, relax, because, well, our wedding was a roller coaster. We had dated for about 10 years, different religions, took a long time for family to like agree. So we wanted to cherish the moment and like have some, fun too. So took a break for a year, but I was simultaneously preparing for my GMATs and all the exams, wanted to get my license here in the US, driving license, so I can be more independent. So it was one hell of a year, had a lot of fun. In 2013, I got admission into Georgia State University. But I knew I always wanted to be in marketing, so I did not change my path. And in spite of having a lot of people around me that works in IT, and me myself having an engineering background, everybody said, just find a QA job, just go do IT, like US, IT, you know people, just go do that. But I was like, I cannot code. I mean, it was just not in my blood. So I took the challenge and got admission into Georgia State, did MS in marketing, brand management. Hey, what was that?
Somebody speaking. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. So where did I leave? Yep. So got into Georgia State, did a MS in marketing, in brand and customer management. It was a 1-year course. I knew I just needed a break or a way to get into like the, solve the visa problem. So I took up just a 1-year course. I didn't want to spend a lot more time, wanted to get back to workforce, wanted to see my money coming in. So it was like super like clear what I wanted at that point. But I started realizing it was not going to be easy. All the tricks that you learned was not like completely relevant here. You had to change a bunch of things, like how do you get a job? How do you network? You needed to be more than a resume. You needed a face, and you needed like more people to see you. So as I was doing my MS parallelly, I found some connections and joined the local American Marketing Association chapter and started volunteering with them. That really helped me to meet people locally, get into companies, find some real good mentors, and just be a little bit more than a resume. So using some networking from my college and through other places, I just invested this whole time to find the right opportunities. And when it was time for campus placements, I was looking at this company already and I knew some people in there, but when they came in for campus, it just made it so easy and I got an internship. So this is another pivotal moment. I knew Harish Bijur sir was like a great inspiration and I always wanted to be in brand management. So when I came here and when there was a lot more opportunities to break into that industry, I was like, okay, let's take it. So I joined this company as an intern after I graduated. Usually people take up internship when you're studying, but I took the risk and I said, hey, I'll just take an internship. And if it gets through well, I will get a permanent position. So that's kind of what I did. And they were, very happy with my performance during internship. And I've been with them for 6 years now. It's a company called Georgia Pacific. They manufacture paper products, paper towels, toilet papers, paper plates, and also into building products and a lot of other things. So I've been with them for 6 years, done various roles, learned a lot. It's been a hell of a journey. Been working on activations, consumer insights, different types of businesses, different types of leaderships and teams. And COVID was a big change. So last year, due to the changes and all the things that's happening in the US, companies were so volatile. They just didn't know what they were doing. They were like super anxious, and a lot of people, roles were eliminated. And I was unlucky, and I was part of that, whole jing bang. But since I had two traits in my sleeve, marketing, activation, brand management, and consumer insights, and because I had a very good relationship, with a lot of senior people in the organization, I was able to find a role in another part of the business within, 2 weeks. The biggest pivotal moment was at that point, my husband was in India and he was kind of stuck there because he couldn't travel and everything was like, I was kind of holding the fort here. So if I had not found the job, I would have to leave the country. So it was like a very enlightening moment. Like you never know that you are cut out for, things like that unless you face it. So it was a great moment for our family to kind of having that, going back and finding a job in 2 weeks, because you can only be in the visa without a job for 2 months. So if you don't have a job, then you'll have to, move out of the country or do some alternate arrangements. So my biggest learning is, it doesn't matter if you pivot, just make sure you kind of use that strength from your previous, whatever, that learning you have in a way that you use and move forward and just keep going, because, life gives you different things. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. And I always think about it this way. All you have to do is hold on to the paddle boat and wait for the storm to pass. It will not last for long. So just don't lose hope. Hold on, float on, things will get better, and you will move on to the next chapter.
Thank you. Having hope is a very, very important aspect of mental balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been very enlightening. I mean, the fact that networks and relationships actually help a lot. Okay. And everybody needs to, from day one. I mean, many people who say they are introvert, and I'm sure all of us are introverts out here. The question is whether we are shy, okay, or whether we are scared to make connections. And the point is that this is very, very important that we have to make connections, okay, and they actually come in a lot useful. And it's also about giving before you take. So there are some interesting aspects about networking. Vinay, how about you, man? I mean, the transfer pricing guy.
It's like living the dream.
It's one of the toughest things, I mean, you'd say transfer pricing and half the finance industry starts shuddering.
Yeah.
So
Right. So so just a note on that. When I used to work for Ernst & Young, and I'll get to the story, but they do a survey, all the big four accounting firms, so PwC, EY, Deloitte, and KPMG, they're the so-called big four companies, largest four companies in the world in accounting. So they do these surveys and they ask CFOs and tax directors what is the number one issue that they have other than managing cash flow and typical finance related problems. Transfer pricing is always if not number one, it's definitely number two on their list of things to manage. And the interesting part is I never knew about transfer pricing when I showed up for my interview. So that is not to say that I took it lightly, but it's just the fact that in our curriculum back in the day, so I was part of IBA in 0507. It was the second batch, so to speak, or no, not second, 2000. So maybe fourth or fifth batch.
Yeah.
Fifth batch. So it was still evolving as a business school and trying to find out how do we position ourselves for success. And I was fortunate to be part of CRDT placement cell. So that gave me an opportunity to look around and see how other people are looking at their careers. And I think I've been fortunate. I see myself as fortunate because I've always grown when there were challenges. Every time I found even a sliver of success, and that's a very vague term, how you define success. But every time I found success, I became complacent, and not in a sense that I know everything, but okay, now I've tasted success, so I will be okay. But that's not the case. And every time I've faced challenges, so-called challenges, they were more like opportunities to know yourself in a different way than what you've seen before. So coming back to your point about transfer pricing, I never knew about it. When I was at IBA, my background is in mechanical engineering as undergraduate, and I did want to get into research and development because back in my undergraduate college, we have to do this final year project, and I was part of a 4-member team along with computer science folks to build a robot, football playing robot. So I was very much into robotics and automation even back then. So I thought I'd probably find a place in industrial automation in some way, shape, or form. But then as I got more into that, I figured out technology or having that knowledge alone is not going to be the key driver of what makes a business successful. It's always the money. Show me the money. What is the cost of developing anything that you're looking at? So that kind of got me curious about why. So I used to think that having a cool technology is going to be really the key to success, but then at the end of the day, everything boils down to money. How much money are you bringing in, and how much costs are you saving? So at the end of the day, what is the bottom line? And so that's how I got more intrigued and interested into finance, and I wanted to explore that as an avenue for career. So that's how I ended up with IBA. And at the time, my specialization was finance and information technology. And I remember that at one point, there was this discussion, should we get rid of that specialization altogether? Because more likely there's not enough prospects from a job standpoint. And we had to plead to Mr. Manish Jain about, please let us continue doing this. We are passionate about these subjects. And it turned out to be a blessing, because very gracefully they did let us. We were probably the last batch where they allowed to have that specialization. I don't know after that if it is still offered or not, but at least at the time
we had a finance and a business analytics
okay, there you go.
combination.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Now the idea is that if you have 14 plus people, okay, opting for a certain combination, okay, we sort of allow that.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the time when I joined IBA, I had no idea what kind of career path I'll end up in. So going into finance, I had, okay, maybe investment banking, maybe some kind of portfolio management, maybe some kind of something very standard, typical, routine, as everybody thinks about these careers. When my friends, they had marketing specialization or HR specialization. So one of my really good friends, Jubin, he's still in Bangalore. I remember him, Jubin Kapasi. So he was always into human resources. He loved doing that. So he said, that's what I'm going to do. I did not have that level of clarity at the time. I was still finding my way. And even before I got into IBA, I had my own personal challenges to deal with. So going back to the point about growing yourself, knowing yourself through challenges is what I've learned helps me grow the most. And when I, at the time of graduation from IBA, we had about 22 people go to Ernst & Young for interview as a financial analyst. So that was the role. And I did not know at the time that Ernst & Young was a back office, and nothing wrong with that. It's just that it was a completely different career than what I had in mind about what I wanted to do. So when I showed up for the interview, the recruiter or the interviewer, they told me, you really suck at this. You don't know about financial analysis because you have not memorized your financial ratios. And now that I think of it, it was, very sort of a childish thing. But they said, it looks like you'll be better suited to this thing called transfer pricing. Why don't you come again for that interview? And I'm like, I was disappointed because I thought I had done my preparation for the interview, but that's not how it turned out. So being open-minded, being not being let down in the face of seeming disappointment. So if somebody tells you you're not good at this, maybe self-evaluate, look inside and say, what is it that I don't know? And then try to work on it and come back again. Every time I've basically fallen off the wheel, I've tried to figure out what is it that I can do better and how can I think about this as a way to progress myself in every way. I did a little bit of research. Back then, Google was still new. So I did a little bit of research trying to understand what is transfer pricing, how does it relate to the work I've done at IBA. And if you notice in the textbooks in finance, it's like a small paragraph on transfer pricing. It relates to intercompany transactions. And we I definitely did not pay attention to that in my exams, but and I don't remember being having any questions. But anyway, so I did show up for the interview because I thought that was a good opportunity. Ernst& Young was a big brand name, and I did not want to let go of that. So when I showed up for the interview, I told them I have an engineering background, and I did finance and information technology as my MBA specialization. I will be honest, I have no idea how to do debits and credits. So if you need me to do debits and credits in transfer pricing, I don't think I'm the guy. So they started laughing at me and they said, you don't, let's see how this goes. And they started asking me questions about how I think, and it wasn't necessarily more, to some extent it was technical, but it always also was, how do I think? How do I present my thoughts? How do I articulate? So technical knowledge, yes, is important. You cannot, that's like bread and butter. You have to be good at it. But at the same time, how do you, other non-technical skills, so-called soft skills, how do you present yourself? How confident are you in your responses? How honest you are? That makes a lot of difference. So that's how they gave me that opportunity. So long story short, they did give me the offer, and I was one, if not the lowest, I was one of the lowest compensated graduates from IBA at the time. So I remember it was 13,000 rupees. And it was a bit disappointing in my mind because I was like, I have a engineering degree, I have an MBA in finance and IT. How is it that I'm at the bottom of the pool? But my plan at the time was to stay there for 6 months because no matter what, it's a great opportunity to work for a big company which is networked around the world. So if I don't like something, I will maybe study something again, do some certifications, and then try to find something different if I don't like it. And then in that within 6 months, opportunities came my way. And when I say that, I had to have an open mind. I couldn't just sit around waiting for somebody to knock on my door and say, hey, Vinay, do this for me. I was always asking questions. How does this work? Why are you doing this? And I was never afraid of that because otherwise you just don't know what you don't know. So asking questions, being curious about how things work, and how can I make something better? Is this the best way to do something? So that was always at the back of my mind. And then all the big fours have this thing called secondment. So they send people overseas, depending on the business case, to give them an opportunity to work with other teams around the world. And for me, that opportunity came in 2007, where they said, would you like to try this out? I was happy to. And it was for 6 months, got extended to 9 months, and then they made it into a permanent role because they said that we need somebody like you. So I did not by any means have or still have a traditional career path. Not many people know about transfer pricing. They do not start out by saying, I want to be a transfer pricing professional. It is something, I like it because it is a mix of finance, statistics, economics, and technology. And one of my responsibilities is automation. And one of the questions earlier on artificial intelligence, there are two levels. One is cognitive and one is basic. And I can get more into that, but I see that our skill sets, so like think of data entry, for example. If you're filling a form, for sure that is something a robot can do much better than us because there's no thinking in it. It's just purely grab the data, put it in a form. So that is more repetitive and low in the sense of what it needs. But the more higher complexity level we go at, that's where we as human beings need to be more adaptable and be able to think about how to make something better. So anytime you're thinking about what is it that I'm going to do or what should I be doing, have an open mind, be curious, and then always try to do something better. Let me pause there. I know I took a lot of time.
Interesting, Vinay. I mean, you essentially have, your philosophy of life has been, let's try it. What's the harm? Yeah, and
Yes.
it's sort of also resilience. I mean, you fall down, okay, let's get up and see, okay, how can we do it again? And how can we do
Right.
it better? Yeah, and that's a great philosophy to have. Jisha, I see that IKEA thing behind you. I also have the same one. Same matching and all. All
I mean,
right.
every house here has something from IKEA, I'm pretty much sure.
I'm sure. Jisha, you are the youngest of the lot here.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason why I pointed out the 2011 connection is that I want you to sort of go back to 2011. Now, folks, I mean, you might not know, but Jisha was a tutor for me in my management skills classes, and she did an excellent job. And I'll at some juncture share with you our party scenes. All right. Now, Jisha also participated in a huge number of competitions, etc. And she got a lot of awards and laurels for IBA. And the reason I'm sort of pushing you in that direction, Jisha, is for you to feel what you felt when you came to IBA. Yeah. And what were your sort of expectations, your trepidations, your fears, and how did you uh, do things out there in IBA? Because I mean, I'm sure for Aparnaa, Anuradha, okay, but Vinay, my God, it might be like in the passage of time, somewhere in the distant past sort of thing. So it would be with Rohit, right? And I need you to like sort of identify with these 21, 23 batch, yeah, and sort of tell them your journey through IBA, pre-IBA, maybe through IBA, and then post-IBA.
Right. So, hi everyone. It's so nice to finally meet, people in the US, alumni in the US. I would first of all apologize for some noise. There's repair work happening thanks to the owner. But I came to IB in 11-13. Before that, I finished my BCom from Gujarat. That's where I'm from. But basically, I'm a Keralite, but we are settled in Gujarat. So I was there, did my schooling, did my undergrad, and then I was like, what to do next? And everybody was doing MBA. So I joined the race, came to IB in 11-13. And it was the first time that, me, and I'm pretty much sure 80% of the batch was outside their hometown, away from their families. And it was, a chaos for the first 1 week. I'm pretty much sure Richa ma'am knew because everybody was trying to adjust to a lot of things. We were kind of, somewhere between like the new millennials who wanted everything to done in a certain way. And then we met all these people who were our batchmates, and we knew we have to spend 2 years with them. We loved some people, we hated some people, but right now, all the
it was a very, very wacky
yes.
batch.
It was like
Very.
that, yes. So, but I met a lot of good professors, made friends for life. Like I'm still in touch with 10 years past. May not have seen their faces in the last 5 years, but we are still in good touch. So I selected, when I came to IBA, I still didn't know what to choose in my specialization, but then marketing was one thing that I did not like, but it was compulsory, so I chose that. And my second specialization was HR. And as Sir pointed out, we were part of a lot of committees, did a lot of competitions, had a lot of internal competitions. And I think that was one of the, make or break point in our path, not just career, but in life, where you have to take some decisions, like what battles to fight? Like, do you want to win some battles, or do you want to like go through all of it and then lose all of it and all that? So maybe I'll get to that later. But when I passed out of 11-13, I was among the very few people who did not get any job offer. I was top of the batch. In fact, I had good CGPAs. I had so many awards and so many things to fill up the resume, but I left IBA without a job. I went back to Baroda. I stayed there for like 3 more months trying to figure out what went wrong. I did my internship in IBM, and I still don't have a job. So it was again another point where people do get depressed and all that. But then thankfully I was with my family. I just was like, let me just try, see any job I'll get, whatever job I'll get, and then After 3 months, one of my IBA colleague, classmate, he was part of one of the small companies in Bangalore, and he was like, they need an HR. Do you want to do the HR job? I was like, all right, fine, I'll do. It was a very small company. We were probably just 20 employees. The job was not good, but it bring in the money, and it was somewhere where we can start the career. So I was like, all right, okay, I'll take that path. I did that job for 3 months, and I was like, okay, I may have to see whether I want to continue this or find something else. And thankfully, one of my senior from IBA had posted something on LinkedIn. So one thing I did was I ended up checking out LinkedIn every day, seeing what other job opportunities there in Bangalore. Every day I come home, I'll cook, I'll finish all the chores, and then I'll sit in LinkedIn and see what other job opportunities are there. So one of my senior, Brinda, she had posted something for a company in IT. They were looking for HR, and I just walked in, and the next day I got the job. The part was US HR. So what all the HR laws that I had learned in IBA, I had to unlearn everything because I was part of the US HR team, which means we would be sitting in Bangalore, and all our employees would be in US. And when their H1B and L1 processes happen, that's when we help them out. It was a really good job. I enjoyed my work for 2 years. I had a very good boss and a very good team. Then my boss moved out, and then I worked there for another 2 months, and then I got the best job till now I got was, again, through LinkedIn. Somebody reached out to me for an position with Aditya Birla Group. They were opening an online franchisee for, online shopping website, and they wanted an HR. And I was like, sure, why not? So then that's one of the biggest, flourishing career path that I had. I worked in that company for 3 years. I did 2 years of HR. And again, had a really good rapport with my boss, really found out about an industry that I had never ever knew about. It was the textile and e-commerce industry. And we were the building part of that company. Like, I was the 20th employee to join. And by the time I had left, we were 300 plus employees. So we were the people who used to work till 11, 12 during the launch, and then have pizza parties because we couldn't go home. So it was a very, very much learning experience. And I met people from industries that I never even heard about, like sourcing in textile. Then there is knitting and this and that, and designers. And you would see all these people who have met all the famous personalities in Bombay. A lot of people came from Bombay and Dubai, and it was a good cultural mix. Very good job. I HR for 2 years, and then they had an opportunity in marketing, and I applied internally for the same company, and I moved into social media marketing role, wherein we used to have meetings with Shahid Kapoor and all that for our brand. And we used to meet all these celebrities or be on call with them, if not go and meet them in Bombay. So lucrative job. It was all going good. And then another life event happened. I got married. So I had to drop everything and then move back here. So as all of you have said, when you move from one country to another, if you do not have, if you're not coming here through work or through college, it becomes very difficult for you to find your feet in the ground. You don't know anyone. There's a cultural shock. So for almost 1 year, I did not do anything. I did not have work permits. So it was after working for 6-7 years and having a steady income coming in, it was kind of a break that I did not want, but I had to take. So again, I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry for the noise.
Don't worry about it.
I did not know what to do. And, working as HR and marketing, I was like, maybe I'll have to take the same path in this country. So I applied in a lot of HR and marketing roles when my work permit came. But then nobody reached out to me. Even through networking, even knowing a lot of people, there was nothing happening at that time. And this was just a few months before COVID. And at the same time, my marriage fell apart. So there were personal troubles happening there. And I got my first job as a law intern in US. And that was for immigration and marriage laws. So I was like, I don't even think so I'm made for law, right? It was like totally out of the career. It was just another bridge that I had to cross. And I got my first job there. I did it for a few months, and I really, really liked learning about the laws here, and they were nothing I thought that I would be doing, but then I did learn a lot about how to reach out to the court and how to do all the clerical jobs, make all the data points for your court cases and all that. I did that the job for a few months, and then COVID happened. I lost my job, and I was back to the same ground with no family and no money. So I did odd jobs like working as a telecaller, went into restaurants to do some helping job because those were essential services at that time. Again, all through connections. Nothing happened out of the blue, all because I knew somebody who kind of reached out to me. And then the current job that I got was from through the restaurant. I got to know about this company that was hiring for HR. It's called Ethnic Foods. It's owned by an Indian, it has an Indian owner. And I reached out to them and they said, yeah, sure, we need HR job, but do you know anything about HR? I said, no, I don't know anything about the US HR except for the IT part of it. They said, okay, all right, we may need you to come in and make all the policies because a lot of people are moving. We are getting a lot of unemployment claims and this and that, something I'm pretty much sure people in US would be aware of as to what they are. And I joined that company a year back and doing freelancing there with them with a bit of marketing. So I don't think so. I had a very very good career. I still remember 10 years back when I was in IBA, Chandra sir used to ask us about our 10-year goals. And seeing the current batch that is 21, 23, I'm still nowhere close to my 10-year goal. I never thought I'll do marketing. I never thought I'll do law. I never thought I'll come to US and learn about the US HR and move back into the HR role in some other country. But this is what I'm doing. And it's unlearning and then learning again. That's one of the things that I've learned, that you can, again, in this country, you can be part of any company or any industry you want to, as long as you're ready to unlearn whatever you know about this and then start learning again from the basics. And so, yeah, that's it. What I'm doing right now, I'm working as an HR and marketing for this Indian-owned company currently. I would be, I would be leaving the job by next week for the HR because I'm moving to another place. So I would be continuing them because I had a good rapport with my boss. My boss still wants me to do the marketing job. So I'll be continuing the marketing job, but I'm training somebody to take over my HR job. So, and I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm not sure if I'm going to live in the US. I don't even know. I haven't been to the country since 2 years. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm very much sure whatever it is, I'll take care of it. I can handle it because this country, or even just leaving my house and coming to a different state and living with people I didn't know, taught me a lot of things about myself, which wouldn't have happened had I stayed back in Gujarat and did the took the same path that a lot of my friends took at that time.
So we talk about comfort zone. And Jisha, I think you threw the comfort zone totally out of the window into a different atmosphere altogether. I mean, that grit that you have shown, okay, that resilience, the ability to get up, and that attitude that Vinay we were talking about, can do and will do. When somebody comes to Jisha and says, can you do that? They say, I've never done it, but I'm going to give it a try. And she gives an honest try and she actually makes a success out of it. Okay, and that's what I love about Jisha. Right? So moving forward, you pointed out something, which is expectations versus reality. And it's a great example that you said that, okay, Chandu sir asked about these theoretical questions about, give me a 10-year plan. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And you probably laugh at a recruiter if he asks that question. I mean, you have no idea where I saw myself and where I landed up. So when there is this this discrepancy between what we want and what we get, how do you handle it? And that's the next question that I'm asking all of you. Because at some juncture, I think Vinay or was it Rohit who said, I don't know what is the definition of success.
I said, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a very, very interesting thing. Happiness, success, expectations, reality, how do you put it all together? So I'll
We're
start
still
with
learning.
Jisha this time. Sorry, I know that I'm getting a bit philosophical, and I'm
No, no.
sure that maybe the first year students will say, "Ye kahan yaar, ye to, matlab, if we wanted Sadguru out here, then it would have been a different baby altogether." But guys, we are talking to people out here who have sort of, started off in one direction, gone in another direction, and the pursuit of happiness while in that journey has become a very, very interesting thing. So,
To say the
Jisha
least.
theoretically could get depressed, right? Anuradha also talked about that a bit. The point that I'm making is, what do you find inside yourself, okay, in order to define or redefine success, define or redefine happiness, and how do we move forward when reality is way different from expectations? Tough question,
I'll go
Jisha.
after Jisha.
This looks like an end-term question, doesn't it?
It's like, oh my God, have I answered this before in one of your exams? I'm just remembering that.
That's right.
I think
And the
right
typical
now,
answer that I have for that is, go to sleep for 1 hour and then some answer will come, then you start writing.
no, I think for me, if somebody asks me, what's the definition of success, I still don't know what the definition of success is. Once I finish my work at the end of the day, I come back, I am bed and I finished the whole day. I think for me that's successful. Seeing all the struggles that I've gone through in my personal life, especially in this country, surviving one day itself, I feel is a success.
So it's one day at a time sort of thing.
It's one day at a time, and I won't deny. I'm taking therapy. I'm calling out to people, reaching out to people who have gone through similar path, because that's some kind of help I cannot get back in India. I don't have anyone to talk there about the journey that I've had here because nobody experienced it. So I'm reaching out to help. I'm taking wherever help I can. And one of the things that I saw was, people here or anywhere have all these opportunities in their hand and they still let it go. And then there are some who just take just cling on to just one opportunity and then climb. So I think that second person is more successful than how many opportunities come through your way if you don't know how to use it.
And there's a parallel here. When I started with 13K, Aparnaa started off as an intern. Okay, and the whole point was that if you have this expectation that I need to get a 6 lakh plus job and anything below that will not work. Okay, that sounds a bit weird and it really doesn't work out. Right? So Jisha is an extreme case where, her expectations, her reality is based on, okay, I'm not expecting anything. I need to move through it one day at a time. Okay. But one thing that you did point out was the networking aspect of it.
Right.
Okay. Having people, knowing people, you started off even from a LinkedIn perspective, most of your jobs you got through that, right? And even now, most of the things that you're getting are because you know people and people are happy with what you're doing and therefore recommending you for various other things, which essentially is an aspect of freelancing, okay,
Right.
which is very, very important. And something that comes out from Jisha's experience is that you may have a job, you may not have a job, but if your networking is good, okay, and if people like you, your cash flow will be there. And primarily from COVID time, I think we have all learned this lesson very well. Cash is cash. And as Ramesh sir used to say, cash is king. And I think that has been underlined very well, I think, over the last 1 year.
Absolutely.
Right. Would anybody else want to contribute to this aspect of how do we treat life and how do we take care of problems as they happen? And should we expect, should we not expect? What happens when things don't go as per expectations?
Can I go?
Go ahead,
Go
Vinay.
ahead. No, somebody started. I think Aparna, you started speaking. Go ahead.
Yeah, but go ahead if you want to. Not a problem.
I was just gonna say, it is a very interesting question because there are so many different opinions. Very easily people associate money or monetary success as success. If I'm making X amount of money, I'm successful for the most part. But and just to, for everybody on the call, by no means I'm Baba Gyandev. So please, I'm not preaching. I'm just sharing my experience. And everybody has, like you've seen so far, everybody has a very different flavor of life. So if somebody asks you, here's a sure shot recipe for success, I would run in the opposite direction, because there's no such thing as a recipes for success that works for
I
every
think
single
Aparnaa
person.
learned that very early in life. Coding does not work. You cannot write a program for life.
Exactly.
Good
All
choice,
right.
Aparna.
All right, Vinay,
Right.
move on, please.
So I was just saying that in terms of expectations, reality, and success. So it took me a while to understand this, and I'm still learning this. But expectation, I see a situation as try to see a situation as situation. Our response is what makes it good or bad. So if I, let's say, if I was trying to do an interview and I did not succeed, I did not get the job for whatever reason, that is an event. In and of itself, that is not good or bad. How I respond to that is going to make a difference. So if I get sad, like uh, I prepared so much, but I still didn't get the job, or fine, now I have an experience. I know what kind of questions they're going to ask me for my next interview. So how can I learn or make myself better? Because at the end of the day, you learn no matter what. Either it's good or you make something good out of it, or you don't. So I personally feel it's personal action. Nobody is responsible for your success or your failure other than yourself. There are people who help you along the way, for sure, but at the end of the day, it is you who are the main architect of your own journey. For success, I see myself as taking one day at a time. I think, as Jisha mentioned, am I better than yesterday? Did I learn something new today? And even if I didn't learn or read or knew something today, has my understanding of what I knew yesterday is different than what I know from today? And how do I apply that? I know it sounds a little bit, probably it sounds a little bit far-fetched for the new folks who are just entering into their MBA, but maybe some people have already had a job, so they were already in the field with some experience. I did not have a job before I came to IBA, so I came straight up from undergraduate. But to Chandrakant sir's point about the very first day we landed in IBA, we were taken to the Art of Living Center, and I did think pretty much like, I don't think I'm ready for sannyas yet. So I don't know what I'm doing there. But it was a way of mentally, spiritually preparing yourself to what's come ahead, and it in time things will make sense. So just be patient with yourself and everybody around you. And expectation, how much is that grounded in reality? Just because, going back to my own example, just because I have a engineering and an MBA combination, does that make me entitled to highest possible package? Definitely not, because having that is good. It's definitely an advantage, but at the same time, expecting is not going to help you. Having an idea of what you want and what you hope for is definitely needed, but ye agar nahi mila to I will not do that, or it has to be a certain way. That is not going to take you far in life. Maybe that's the approach you want to take, but keep in mind that that's definitely not going to take you far in life. You have to be uh, pretty much grounded, be humble in terms of, if you know something, you're absorbing information, you'll be able to use it in some shape or form that you don't know yet. So just keep an open mind and try not to attach. So again, maybe I'm getting a little bit too spiritual, philosophical, but expectations and attachments are two different things in my mind.
It's
If you
interesting. I
attach,
mean, you got cycling, you got California, then Anuradha talked about hemp. So
yeah.
I think we're all going in the right direction here. All right,
Sure.
Vinay. That's
I'll
nice.
just make one last
Yeah.
point, and I took up the hobby of cycling in the US, and I enjoyed cycling in India, but I did not know how much impact it's going to make in my own way of looking at things. So if you are familiar with cycling, there are flats, or the roads are pretty straight, or there are climbs. And the moment you hit a climb, it becomes really challenging. So that is the metaphor I try to use. Is I try to seek out for those climbs in my life, and not that that's the only thing I want to do, but that is the zone where I grow, because I practice harder. I try to do I try to learn new techniques, and going out of the comfort zone is, in my mind, where the real growth is. And I'll just shut up there.
And there are failures, and you learn different strategies, and you try out different strategies to hit the
You have
same
to.
slope again, right? And
Yes.
you're always trying to better your timing for the same
Right.
slope. So you have to think about it beforehand. Okay, this is how I'm going to hit this slope this time in order to
Exactly.
improve our timing. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I just wanted to add one more thing to that, Vinay.
Mhm.
What's your idea on risk? Because see, one of the things that happens is people come up with this comfort zone thing you've brought up. But the other aspect, and all of you have gone through that during the COVID time, there is an element of risk now. I mean, nothing is certain, right? And you
Yeah.
need to have a certain approach towards risk.
I have my personal approach is probably different than others. I don't think there is anything there's no certainty in life. And I take a very broad approach, because when we think about risk, we are like, I'm going to do something that I've not done before. So that's risky. But even if you're doing something that you've done before, what's the guarantee that that's going to give you the success that you're looking for? So there's no guarantees in life.
So
I'm very
it's
grateful to
very
wake up every
important
day.
to sort of say, why not? All the
Mhm.
time. Anytime something
Yes.
comes up, okay, why should I do it? It's a very wrong thing to say. It's like, why not?
It's
Yeah,
like when
because
people fall sick, they're like, why me? Right? Like, why did something like this happen to me? But then why not? Like, who are you? Like, you're not anybody special or anything like that. So
so I mean,
having that
I
approach
found
has helped.
I found that people who have been for very long years in one particular industry, suddenly
Mhm.
during COVID are at sea. Okay,
Yes.
because once they're sort of laid off, they know nothing else but
Mhm.
that. I have a friend who was in who was in the hospitality and travel industry. And
Oh,
after all
yeah.
the flights went off, like he was just laid off. And he said, I don't know anything else to do. For the last 30 years, that's all I've been doing. I've been a
Right.
travel agent, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, I feel that early on in life, we have to get that attitude which says, why not? And keep doing different and different things. And I see all of you. I mean, you have all said, why not? All the time,
Mhm.
right? And that's the beauty of this whole thing. Um, Anuradha, Aparnaa, which of you wants to go first? Unless Rohit, you're okay? You need a drink of water or something?
No, no, I'm
Huh?
good.
You cool?
Yeah.
All right.
So, well, first thing, what is happiness? How I define it? The definition or the way, the framework that I've used to define happiness or success has changed based on where I've been in my life at different points. So early on, it was always about the company. Am I being recognized? Am I getting the right pay? Am I getting promotion in the right cadence? You know, that was kind of like what kept, me moving. And I had a very I centered a lot of my happiness around career early on. But when life happens, when you enter motherhood, it kind of flips things around completely. And depending on where you are in your life stage, right now, for me, happiness is all about balancing. And I have completely stopped comparing myself, or at least try to do it. My path is not someone else's path. And I cannot go the same speed as someone else is doing, because there are so many factors that you don't know what, the other person's going through. So it really changes based on where you are, like having a financial freedom or having more time with my kid or making sure he does what he needs to do is equally important. I remember in my first job, I was straight out of college. I was living in YWCA in Bombay and, doing this job while everyone else in my team were older, and they will leave exactly at 4:59, like on dot. And I'd be like, what sort of a company is this? Like, no one cares. Like, there's no extra above and beyond. But today I'm that person. I leave at 4:59. I have to get out to get my, pick up my child. So things change, you evolve, you become more mature and more concerned about like what others are going through, and the perspective completely changes. And it's totally okay to change the way you define happiness based on what life stage you are at. So that is what I'm trying to like incorporate in my life, not to race around. It's not a race. It's okay if you're like a few years slower or faster. Wherever you are, that's where you're supposed to be in your life stage. And you just have to look back at things that you have got and be grateful about it, because you may always feel like your expectations, you wanted to be a director in 10 years, let's say that was the goal, and you're nowhere close to it, or you probably will not get there for 15 years. That's okay. Look back into your achievements, look back into what you have, your family, or what little strides that you have made, and be a little grounded and take it slow. It's okay. I mean, no one's going to have it all, and it's okay to be where you are.
Rightly said, Aparna. Very, very well put up. I mean, I guess Aparna and my story has been through the same path, having a kid with the job is definitely something, And right now, when I moved to Massachusetts for this new job, my husband hasn't moved yet because he has his job in North Carolina. So I'm here with my 7-year-old trying to juggle, find new place. So this has been a fun ride. I enjoy every moment. It's very important to, push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's so important to learn I have experienced that whatever role I have done, starting from my, first job through after IBA till now, I have learned from every job, and I'm proud of doing that job. I have no regrets. Like, why did I join? Before moving to Confluent, the job which I had, I hated it. I hated the management, the people around me. But it gave me a very, very good experience to build on. And the Confluent, coming into Confluent, I think those experience added. And right now, they are already talking. I mean, I think every stage you cross, it will be a landmark for you to move on to a next one and learn everything you can in that current job. Be open, be open to learn more things, meet with people, learn from people, be confident about yourself. That's also important, and, for me, getting into a good job in the like textile after doing 5 years in textile, like PhD in textile, for me, there was a lot of validation which I was looking for. Did I make my right decision moving into textile? Why did I even choose? Because every time I had to go through the interview, they would ask me this question, like, we don't understand, how do you fit finance and then a PhD in textiles? I was like, well, this has been my journey and I'm proud of it. Some people understood, some people didn't understand the whole journey. But I'm glad, I'm very happy with my current job. The job is excellent. And, I think, they are already talking about making me a, project manager or, in a few months. So all this experience, small little experience kind of add up, it will give you the right boost in your career. So you just be patient, learn it every single day. Like Vinay had really put it really nicely. It's like, every day is an experience, learn from it, move on, build on that. So everything counts. I guess we will probably say the same thing because we have gone through the same experiences in life. So yeah, I mean, I would wish the new batch a good luck, be confident, do whatever needs to be done, listen to Chandra sir, and, have fun, enjoy your journey. I miss IB a lot. I miss my friends. I'm glad Aparna and I got to meet few years back when my son Vivan was about 3 years old. Now
I
he's
think you were
7.
pregnant at that time, yes, when you came here.
Yeah, he was very little. So yeah, I'm glad I met you. I also have very strong memory of Rima.
We have 9 minutes. Rohit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
you
just
have
enjoy
been a
your
very
journey.
strong, silent observer for some time now.
Yeah. So life, when you said, Chandu sir, you said like my career path is straight. If I see my career path is also like up and down as well. Like I started with 18,000, I think 14,000 at EY. I was expecting my package should be like 3.5 something or whatever during that time per month. 18,000, 14,000 in Bangalore and staying in a paying guest as a 2 years. That was a struggle as well, I would say, for 2 years. And then moved to Deloitte. That few things improves, but the expectations and life, you have more expectations, but reality is different completely. And the
That
risk
was
what to
tax-free
take.
money.
Yeah, the tax-free money, but still in Bangalore, 14,000. Tell me what you can get
I tell you, it's
as a
terrible.
paying guest. As a paying guest, I was eating like a dabba. One auntie used to send me. I used to eat those dabbas. I did not had any gas stove. I used to go out and have my tea and all that stuff. I used to stay in Indranagar. 2 years were a struggle. Once I moved to Deloitte, few things improved. But I would say to all the new people, whoever is going to take new career paths, I would say try to stick where you are comfortable, yes, but you will not be 100% comfortable. But I would ask you to stick somewhere and to like at least 3 to 4 years, establish yourself in the market. If you don't establish yourself, I think no one cares it. Even like one of my cousin brother, he's a qualified chartered accountant, he's CFA, he has done CFA, but still he has not established himself because he had career gaps and all that stuff. But I would say have an establishment if you want to be in corporate. If you are into business, that's fine. It's different career path again, because I come from business background, because my father is into gold and silver finance back in hometown. So I never choose that part, but my father gave an open expansion, like do whatever you want. It's fine until I don't need you, or you don't need to come. So that open an opportunity. Like I thought in IBA, I would give 3 to 4 interviews and I'll be getting a job. But I had to give like 21 interviews, I would say. Like few were out of like first or second round, I was out. And one already industry came to in campus and I sat in that interview for 6 hours and still they did not give me an offer, I would say. 6 hours they grilled me, not sure. Like they were asking, would you go back to your business and all that stuff. I don't know what they were trying to do, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, take risk is there, yes, but take as it comes. Open, choose what is the best for you. Be open, embrace it, all the changes, whatever happens. Make sure you network with the people without expectations. At least try to talk to someone. If they are willing to connect with you, that's fine, but at least try to reach out to them. At least try to once in a while from your side. Don't have expectations, I would say. Try to keep updated with new things coming up, like a lot of things like as AI, blockchain, Bitcoin. Those are the few things which are a lot of things are coming up, I would say. As well as like in nowadays this COVID situation, if you have seen the technology we are using a lot. I never expected that I would be using Zoom and I would be working from home, and I never expected that kind of life. In last year in June, July, there was a layoff happening in Deloitte as well. It's not that all big firm are doing good. Every firm sees how to cut the cost. Make sure you have upgrade yourself, network in the corporation. I mean, corporate, wherever you are doing your job. Try to make sure you have relationships so that people understand that you are important to the firm. build network with clients as well is important, because if client talks to you, that means you are a requirement in the corporate world. So that changes life. And I thought my job would be like morning 9 to 6, but trust me, I work like sometimes 23 hours as well. I have done it. Chandru sir has told us these things could happen, and we did. Like, sir used to come at 11 p.m. in the night. We had once 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. class, presentations from 10 to 1, I guess. Once in a while we did that, I think during my semester, that I remember still. And I never thought that from morning 9 I started and I had to work till morning 6 a.m. one day. And I went, like, I had to do like from 2010, once I joined Deloitte, because there are tax seasons here. September, usually we try to stretch because we have to file all the returns, make sure everything is done. Like 10 days, I never have sleep more than 4 to 5 hours. Even that is big, but still the odd, we used to go bed at 8 and get up at 12 p.m. and get into the flow when I was in Hyderabad. Once I moved, my life got better, I would say, but still I have to make sure my team is in India. I have to get most of the work done, and I connect with the clients here. So the life is completely different. So
I
that's
need
how
to
it
cut you
happens.
short a bit, Rohit,
Sure.
just to summarize.
No problem.
Interesting things happened. One, you said stick to your job. Now there are two things which are there, very nice ones. One is, even if you have a job, it doesn't mean that there's internal politics. There'll be ups and downs. There'll be a lot of people who will stop you and things like that. So it's not as easy as it seems, even sticking to a job, because people run away. And only those people who stick are actually the people who learn, and they create a bit of respect. The second thing I bring Aparna's point of view. She knew enough people within the organization for her to pivot from one role to another within the organization. Take into account Jisha's situation, and any job, God damn it, is better than no job. Okay, so anybody who says that, look, I have this job, but look, somebody else has another job. And Aparna brought that out also very well, where she said that, look, I stopped comparing because it's not worth it. We all have our paths, and how we run our jog is probably more important. It's okay, Anuradha, I would love to see. Yeah, you turned it around. Okay, so the point I'm making is that Aparna also raised the same point that, look, don't compare. We have our paths. We have to every day live it. Vinay also said the same thing. One day at a time, just be better than the previous day. Right? So have good relationships, improve upon those relationships. Success is defined by, okay, what was I yesterday and what am I today? Right? And am I a better self than yesterday? Did I make other people better? That's also a great thing. Did I make my client better? That's what Rohit is talking about. Right? And Aparna is also saying that, look, we need to have time to ourselves. We need to learn, relearn, unlearn, and somehow make ourselves ready for the future, which I think all of us also have brought down, that AI and all that stuff will require a lot of learning and relearning. All right. I'd like to call it a day, and in India, call it a night. Okay, I am sure that there are a lot of students out there who have plates with them and probably hogging away. And if I turn the audio on, there'll be a lot of chomp, chomp, chomp going on. All right. No, Rishit,
Right.
our chat. Okay.
Yeah, there's a
Sorry.
few questions coming in. Maybe we can take it for a couple of minutes and then close.
Yes.
All right. Rishit is giving a quote as such that if you fight for your dreams will fight for you. Okay, that's like, yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All of the people who are here on the screen have fought. All of them, some of them have started with very low salaries and clawed their way to the top. Some have gone through a lot of roadblocks, found ways around them, sometimes hit their head against the rock, got bloodied, and then somehow settled into the side and then took a different path altogether. And as you can see, I mean, where we started is not where we landed up.
Right.
What we expected life to be definitely does not turn out to be that way. But if you keep your calm and you take it one day at a time, it sort of works out.
Mhm.
All right. Richa, I will close it now.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot, people. I know that some of you have got up in the wee hours of the morning. Okay, and some of
That
you
too on a
also
weekend.
that too on a weekend. That's true. Okay, and thank you very, very much for taking the time to share your life experiences with this new batch. Okay, I'm sure that some of them will reach out to you and network with you. Okay,
Sure.
all right. Thanks
Thank
a
you for
lot.
the
Yeah,
opportunity and
thank
good
you
luck.
for the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Richa,
Thank
for
you.
arranging this. Thank you.
Thanks. It was
Bye.
pleasure.
Yep.
You people saying
Thank you. Thank
to
you.
go in the first conversation itself, and
I
glad
was,
everybody
yeah,
could make it. I mean, Rohit said we were the first one. Yeah, let's do it.
yeah.
All right. Good
Anuradha,
luck to
you're
the
not
new batch.
introducing junior
we
Anuradha.
can we could see
I can
Vivan
see
there.
him. I can see
Yeah,
Vivan there.
that's him.
Hey,
Hello.
Vivan. So when are you coming to IBA? Yaar? How many years left now for him to join IBA?
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been 12 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Good. All right then. See you people.
All right. Nice talking to
Yeah,
you
Sure.
and
nice
catching
talking
up.
to you.
Nice
Bye.
talking to you,
Okay.
everyone. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Same to you guys. Yeah. All right.